What's up guys, today we're looking at the subreddit, Today I effed up, sit back relax, and enjoy. First story. Today, I effed up by sending myself to horny jail. I logged into Instagram. I had a follow request from a chick I know. Now I already have her on there, so I was curious, and I clicked on the page. It was her promotion page for her special content. My brain could not possibly comprehend that this was a scam. I've never put in my bank info so quick in my life. No checking the website, no thought process at all. I wanted to see that special content. It's obvious by now that I am a man and cannot think rationally when boobies are involved. That is a fact. Sorry boys, you know that this is true. Well, my bank actually has a brain and my card detected fraud and my card was cancelled. I have no gas for the week and I have to work tomorrow, not to mention all of the other various adult activities that I have to do, but clearly, I am not competent enough to do. I will use this downtime to reflect on my choices and try to use better judgment. Obviously, until the next time that boobies and the hopes of seeing them are factored into the glorious equation. Hello horny jail, nice to finally meet you. Second story. Today I effed up by warning a nurse that she might feel a little woozy. This actually happened 3 days ago, but today is my day off, so I have time to write this. I am a doctor in a hospital, and one of the procedures we do is called a bone marrow biopsy. It is a procedure where we go inside the bone, where the factory of all blood cells is, and get a sample. It's done in the room at the bedside, no need for an operating room or anything. We usually use a special needle to get into the hip bone from behind as the patient is lying flat on their face. It sounds scary, but it's a fairly minor procedure. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes. Today I had to do this for one of my patients. Usually I require some assistance, someone to hand me things when I am sterile and to take things from me. Anyone can do it. Usually I have an eager medical student and I explain what I am doing as I go so they can learn. Today, I didn't, so I asked for help from one of the nurses, and they gave me one of the travelers who are there to help. While I am prepping the field and getting ready, I said how thankful I was for her to come and help. I had never seen her before, and I know the floor nurses fairly well at this point. That's when she told me she is a traveler. I asked if she is a hematology or oncology nurse, and she said no. I asked if she ever saw a bone marrow biopsy, and she also said no. I then asked if she had had lunch, and she said no. So I decided it was a good idea to warn her. I said something like, just as a heads up, a lot of people seeing this for the first time get woozy, so if you start feeling it, let me know. And it's true, I have had a few nurses, med students and aides get woozy, something about the needle pushing through the bone that gets to people. There is a scratching noise that you can audibly hear as the needle rubs against the surface of bone, people feel it in their core. It's also a very forceful procedure. Bones are hard and I have to apply a great deal of force to make my way in there, and also the fact that when we pull out the marrow, we are technically pulling fluid out of a vacuum, and that can sometimes be painful to the patient, and some viewers to behold. Boy oh boy did she not like that. She rolled her eyes and huffed and puffed at me and said, "Don't you worry about that honey," with the full weight of the condescension that honey can carry. I have been a nurse for 15 years, don't remember the exact number, but definitely more than 10. I have been a trauma and ER nurse for most of it. I have seen metal spikes and machetes pulled out of all sorts of holes on patients' bodies. I think I will be alright. She was intentionally rude and antagonistic. I stopped for a second and looked at her, trying to decide how to respond, but after a split second I decided it wasn't worth it. I am not a confrontational person normally, and I have been around long enough to know that it's not worth it to engage. So I just said okay. I genuinely didn't really care. I just wanted to finish my procedure in peace and move on to my next patient during my very busy day. Well, what do you know, minutes into the procedure, I got my needle into the bone marrow space, and I am starting to pull out the liquid marrow. This is the painful part. The patient grunted and I apologized. Not much I can do about this part. All of a sudden I hear a thud. I turned around to find said nurse on the ground out cold. I call her name, nothing. This was obviously a problem. I had to leave my sterile field, interrupt the procedure, and get help. The other nurses called a rapid response, which is an overhead page that we typically call when a patient is looking ill suddenly, and we need extra hands. The nurse ended up in the emergency department. She is thankfully alright. Third story. Today, I effed up by agreeing to get together with an old friend. 2 days ago, I was hit up by a girl who was visiting my local area. She was only there for a week and I hadn't seen her since I was 7 or 8, so I agreed and thought it would be fun. Yesterday we went on an early morning hike and I thought we had a lot of fun. She stayed at my house afterwards until she was pretty much forced to leave by me having to go to work. It is at this point that I should probably mention I had no feelings for her in any way, I just felt like we had a connection as friends. So I suggested we go with her friend to a bar together in the evening since she was leaving the next week, and I thought it would be fun. Red flag number 1, I show up at the location as specified and could not find her or her friend. Also, there was a wedding happening at the venue she specified. I tried calling and everything but she didn't answer. Eventually I managed to bump into her and 2 friends, and they thoroughly convinced me that they were as confused about the wedding as I. So we grouped up, started chatting, and headed to a pub different from our original plan. Now I also want to mention that right from the start we talked about how we were going to split the bill. I was going to pay for my beer. The girls agreed to pay for the wine. One of the girls also ordered an expensive meal and said she would pay. The music was great and the alcohol flowed. I'm not much of a drinker, but I had a freaking amazing time. Nearing the end of our time there, one of the girls suddenly got up and left. Now this is where I got confused, partially due to the alcohol and partially because I'm pretty trusting. The other 2 girls explained that they wanted to get a taxi with me back to their place to chill a bit longer before I would head home myself. Again, there was no implication of sex or anything, and I did not want any. So yeah. They left me there telling me they were fetching this other friend back. I'm a student, so I have no money either. If I'd tried to pay for their 2 bottles of wine, my beer and the meal, then my card would have declined. Honestly, the only things that kept me from rage was the excellent people at the restaurant who treated me with respect and allowed me to figure out how to pay. Also, there was an incredible performing bassist there who offered to help me out until he saw the bill. I didn't know people were that awful. I couldn't afford it, and they knew that because we had talked about my job and how I need to save and pay for my own university tuition. The girl who I've known since I was tiny declined all calls and blocked me on WhatsApp. I'm so glad that my father is close with her family because I'm needing to get that money back. My father had to come and bail me out of the situation, bless him. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.